Hey guys, Kyle from LightStanza here, and today we're going to be looking at setting up lighting fixture families in Revit in the Family Editor. We'll be walking through creating a fixed and instance-based linear type. Today we're going to be working in Revit 2020 to create our lighting fixture families. I would suggest that you work in the oldest version of Revit available to you, as families are not backwards compatible. In Revit 2020, let's go over here where it says Families and click on the New button, and we get this pop up here. There are a couple different default family templates that Revit provides for us. They provide some lighting fixture templates and some generic model templates. Today we're going to use the generic model face-based family template right here. Starting with the generic template file instead of a lighting template file gives us more flexibility in the placement of our lighting fixtures. We are able to place a lighting fixture family on a vertical face, a face, and a work plane when we use the generic face-based template file, as opposed to if we start with one of the lighting template files, we get less options for placement. You can also use the generic model template file if you want a lighting family that doesn't have a host, so you can place it at any height in your Revit project. One way I find this useful is when doing exterior lighting fixture placement. Nesting families for different host types/options is out of the scope for this tutorial. So we'll go ahead and we'll click on Generic Model Face-Based, and we'll click Open. The first thing we want to do once we have opened up our Generic Model Face-Based Family Template file is go up to the left here and click on the Family Categories and Parameters button. And under Family Category, we want to change this from a Generic Models to Lighting Fixtures, and then just hit OK. And now this is a lighting fixture family. A couple things to get orientated. If we go up here on the left and click on the Family Types button, this is where the multiple family types for each family and the parameters for that family are controlled from. And looking at our views here, this is a face, so imagine this as a wall or a ceiling. It's not part of the geometry of your lighting fixture family. One of the main tools when creating families in the Family Editor is reference planes. We use reference planes to control geometry, and the reference planes are in turn controlled by dimensions and parameters. So to draw a reference plane, we'll go up to Create, we'll click on Reference Plane, and we can just go ahead and draw reference planes in our Family Editor. To create geometry for your fixture family, we also go to the Create tab, and we'll click on a button under Forms. We'll just go ahead and we'll create a basic extrusion, and we'll draw a box, and we'll hit the green check mark. And now we have an extrusion created for our family. Now we're going to go ahead and create a fixed-based linear family in the Family Editor. So to start, we'll go ahead and we'll draw our reference planes. So up here under Create, we'll click on Reference Plane, and we're going to draw some horizontal and vertical reference planes. And we actually want, oopsies, to add two to the right of the main reference plane down the center. After we've done that, we can go to our front view, go ahead and create our two horizontal reference planes, go back to the top view, and the next step is we're going to go ahead and create the extrusion for our geometry. Click on the extrusion, we'll go ahead and we'll click on the rectangle, and we'll click in each corner, and we'll just create a box, and then we're going to lock it. Go ahead and click the check marks. Okay. The next thing is we'll go back to a front view, and we'll press the Align tool here in the top left. We'll lock, and we'll go back to a top view. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the dimensions and parameters to control our reference planes. So we'll go up to the Annotate tab, and we'll press the Aligned, and we'll go ahead and we'll add some vertical and some horizontal dimensions, and we're going to also add dimensions that are equal, and that will keep the reference planes in the middle the same on each side. The next step we want to do is This will be our linear length parameter, and we actually want this to be a shared parameter so that we can schedule it. So we'll go up to label here, and we'll create a parameter, and we'll click on shared parameter, and then we'll click on select. Now if you have a custom length parameter defined, you can use that. I already have one here. I'm going to go ahead and walk through just creating a new one from scratch. So I'll click on edit, I'll click on create, and I'll go ahead and I'm just going to put this in my downloads. We'll hit save, and then I'll create a new group. We'll call this parameters, and then I'll create a new parameter inside of that group, and I'll call it custom length. Hit OK, and hit OK. And then this is the parameter you're going to share across all your linear families for the custom length parameter, so then you can schedule them. We'll hit OK, and we want this to be a type, and then we'll hit OK again. And now we have our length. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add our width. The next thing is we're going to go to a front view, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our height and IES offset. I press DI for a shortcut for the dimension. So we'll select 11 inches, create parameter, height, hit OK, create parameter, IES offset, hit OK. And now we'll go back to a top view, and then we'll go up here to family types, and we're going to go ahead and set the values we want for our parameters. Okay, once you have that done, we'll hit OK. And oops, I put in 4 feet, 4 inches there. I want 4 feet. You. And then on the left here, we're going to go ahead and click light source if you don't have it already checked. And we're going to add a light source to our family. So from here, we'll go ahead and we'll click on our light source, and we want to change this to be a linear light source. So I'll click on light source definition. And I'm going to go ahead and use the emit from shape line. You can use a rectangle. I prefer to use line. Either one will work. And I'll change my light distribution to a photometric web. And we'll hit OK. And then we'll go up here to family types, and we're going to go ahead and assign a linear IS file to the photometric web file. Again, this doesn't have to be the linear IS file you're going to use. This just has to be a placeholder linear IS file. So I'll click on the 3 dots, and I'm going to go ahead and find one that I have saved. Here we go. This is a 4-foot IS file. Put in 90 there. And I'll put in 4 feet in the emit from line length because it's a 4-foot IES file. I'll hit OK. And now we have a line that is 4 feet long and a photometric web file that is a linear. We'll go ahead and we'll go to a front view, and currently it's upside down, so we can go ahead and rotate it. Put it over here. And the next step is we're going to go ahead and align it with our reference planes. So I'll press AL, or I can press the Align tool. Click here, click there, and then lock it. We'll go back to a top view, and I'll align it to the horizontal planes. C's, AL, there's that one, and there's that one. Okay. And so now, when I go up to my family types, and let's say I change this to be 8 feet, and I hit apply, this linear stretches and the IS file stays in the center of it. Now, the IS file length didn't change, it's still 4 feet, but now it will always be centered. So the next step is to go ahead and change this length to change as the geometry length changes. So we'll go back to family types, and the emit from line length parameter, we're going to enter in custom length. Hit apply. And now as this changes its size, the length of the IS file is going to change. And the position will always be centered. And so upon import to LightStanza, you will see the photometric web file centered with the right length on it per fixture. So we'll go back to family types, and I'm just going to make this 4 feet. Hit OK. We'll go to a 3D view here so we can see it. And now this is a surface-based linear fixture that has a fixed length. I'm going to go ahead and File, Save As, Family, Downloads, Linear Family Fixed. Now that we have this fixed linear family, we want to go ahead and create an instanced or adjustable linear family. And so to do that, we'll go over here at the top left and where it says Family Types, we'll click on that. And we'll go ahead and we want to change this custom length parameter from a type parameter to an instance parameter. So we'll go ahead and I'll click on Edit Parameter. I'll click on Instance and I'll hit OK. And so now Revit raises an error and it says, hey, instance parameters can't be used to drive type parameters. So what that means is that emit from line length is a type parameter and I can't set an instance parameter equal to a type parameter. So I can go ahead and I want to change emit from line length from a type parameter to an instance parameter. So I go ahead and I hit on Edit Parameter. You can see that it's grayed out. I can't actually change it from a type to an instance. So first thing we need to do is go ahead and change that parameter. So to do that, we can go ahead and we can click on this dimension line up here. And where it says Custom Length, we can hit the drop down. And we can click on Emit from Line Length. And then we can check the box Instance Parameter. And that will change the emit from line length parameter from a type to an instance parameter. So if we go back up to the family types, we click on Emit from Line Length, Edit Parameter. Now it's an instance parameter, even though it was previously grayed out. And we can go ahead and we can just change this back to our custom length. We'll go back to family types. And we're going to go ahead and edit custom length. And we'll change this now to be an instance parameter. And now we don't get that error. So now if I make this 8 feet and hit apply, now it changes its length. I'll make my default 4. And so now that's all we need to do to change a fixed linear into an adjustable / instance linear. And I can go ahead and do File, Save As, Family, and we'll call this Instance.